Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. For the folks who are attending in person, there is a free lunch provided. So kudos to everybody who showed up in person. My name is Mark Bondi, and I'm, along with Vivian Hook, one of the two co-leads of the research and education component to our UCSD Shiley-Marcos ADRC. By way of introduction, the REC was a core or a component of ADRCs that were introduced in the prior funding cycle. So we're approaching year 8 of our REC program. And so we have the first 5 years that we sort of tinkered with the componentry of the REC. And we've changed it and modified it in some ways over the last few years in this current funding cycle. And so I'd like to kind of walk you through kind of the history of the REC, what its objectives are, and identify some of the scholars who have taking advantage of the REC resources at our ADRC, and then go from there. But before I start, Vivian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, hi everyone. I'm Vivian Hook, and I'm a professor here in Skaggs School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences and Department of Neurosciences, and I work with Mark to organize the research and education component. And I think the resources of the ADRC Center are really special for your training. And I'm in the area of drug discovery for Alzheimer's and nervous system disorders. So on June 9th, I'm going to give the Lunch and Learn seminar on drug discovery strategies for future Alzheimer's therapeutics. And the idea is to give you an idea of the approaches and resources available here at ADRC and UCSD for drug discovery. So I look forward to meeting everyone in person then.
Fantastic. And as you can see, well, I'm a clinical neuropsychologist by training and by profession. And so a lot of my work covers clinical and translational related aims and work. And then Dr. Hook, of course, is more on the basic science coverage. And so we definitely want to encourage that duality in our applicants to the REC program, be it basic science or applied translational science. Okay. And we've just been graced by the presence of Doctors Galasco and Salmon. So you probably can't see them, but they're in the audience. And would you like to say hello? Introduce yourself.
Hello. Sure. Okay. Hi, Dr. Galasco. I'm involved with the ADRC in the clinical core and biomarker core, and also one of the associate directors.
Yes, I'm David Salmon. I'm also one of the associate directors and involved with the clinical core and the admin core, and a professor in the Department of Neuroscience.
Great. Thank you. And Diane Jacobs just arrived. One of the leads of our clinical core.
I'm Diane Jacobs. I'm a neuropsychologist and the co-lead of the clinical core.
Great. And while we're at it, I think we need to introduce Emily, who is a point of contact for most people in the REC program.
I'm the administrator for the center. If you don't know me by face, you've seen my emails. And I'm going to tag team to Christina, who you should also know the face too, because you will receive a lot of her emails from listservs.
I'm Christina Gelati and manage the listservs, but also help with the operations of the center. So if you need referrals for your studies or space in the ECOB clinic, Emily and I will work with you to support your projects.
And you're the go-to person for all of the seminar series, and you seem to have most of the emails that come out with the flyers. And of course, we appreciate those tremendously, and particularly reminders of day of. Oftentimes, where the hell is that Zoom address? So, oh, thank you. Okay, let's see if I can. All right. There we go. Did that work? Okay, so in just in terms of an overview of the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, it is a behemoth organizational structure unto itself. And as you can see, there are a variety of different cores. If you're not familiar with all of them, as a rec scholar, you would probably be most focused if you're dealing with any of the data related to the ADRC and its 40 plus years of data collection and access to retrospective data, as well as the opportunity for prospective data collection. You would likely be dealing with a number of these different cores. And in particular, everybody takes a great interest in the data and biostatistics core. And so what we have is one of our leads, Jingjing, is she on?
She is.
Yeah, I am. Hi, Mark.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can forward to your slides to have an opportunity to talk about the data and biostatistics core. There you go. You want to take it from there?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Happy to join and also introduce our data core. So first of all, Steve Island and I are the co-leaders of the data core. So we are happy to help with data related or like data analysis related questions, consulting, and Mark, maybe you can turn to the next page. Thanks. So what we do is basically to provide statistical support to the ADRC investigators. In the past, we have been talking to rec scholar researchers and in general, like the community when they have questions regarding data analysis. So for example, we provide study design, power analysis, consulting, and also work with the statistical analysis planning when there's like a coherent problem we want to address. And also sometimes the analysis is more complex. So we also provide advanced statistical modeling questions and answers. And we have supported manuscript writing in the past and also grant submission support. So the track record on the right basically have some records of what have been doing in the past. For example, we have helped researchers from the ADRC to submit paper manuscripts to the like journals like Alzheimer's and dementia, and also other leading journals, and also working with researchers on NIH grant submissions. Generally, when there is a submission, the first step usually is to talk about specific aims, and then we work from there and talk about data analysis and power calculations. And I have also encountered cases where the researcher has a question in general about an idea to submit a grant proposal, but they haven't started working on the, for example, specific aims. But I was also happy to talk to them about the roadmap, like how to start formulating the problem, especially how the specific aims are corresponding with the statistical hypotheses, and that's how biostatisticians start working from there. And then we also generally support ongoing projects, like say pre-award or post-award, and to provide like a rigorous and the reproducible statistical analysis. So Mark, maybe you can turn to the next page. Yeah, thank you. So this is how the statistical consultation usually works. I like to actually provide the steps to researchers, so to give us both understanding of how to proceed with the statistical planning. So generally, it starts with an initial meeting, where there's assessment needed, and we generally ask questions about scientific background, scientific questions, especially the research goals and timeline and available data. And then we talk about the design and analysis plan. Especially given the nature of the data collection, sometimes we have to adjust for appropriate approaches used. Like, for example, if there's a survival endpoint, we talk about survival analysis. If there are like a time series or like multi-visit longitudinal analysis, we talk about mixed models and so on. And then we also talk about data management plans, although I think that's Steve will have more to talk about that, especially regarding the database the data core provides and the service for. But I think another important aspect is the missing data, because generally we do see regular missing data patterns or outliers, and that's important aspect to address both in papers and in grant submissions. So that will be a big question to discuss. And then analysis and interpretation is when we have a good idea of how the data are collected and how the data look like. And then we will start talking about data analysis types, methods proposed, and also how to clearly interpret the results to lead to product like manuscript or grant proposal. And then the last part is like a manuscript and grant writing support. So we generally review statistical method sections. We actually also help writing the sections and including the power analysis, which is a big component in the grant submission. And then help with the tables, figures, and writing the results section. So that's generally the procedure of the whole like a pipeline of statistical support. So I think that's all I want to talk about. So yeah, let us know if you have database questions. I think Steve and Ben will mostly address them. But if you have questions regarding this data analysis, power calculation, grant support, manuscript support, let us know. We are very happy to help.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Yeah, thank you very much, Mark.
Let's go back. So now you've seen all the slides. It's a priming test. Okay, so that is the data and biostatistics core and how you can go ahead and interface with that single core, but there are other cores as well. And as you can see, the clinical core is one of the main cores with respect to the prospective data collection that occurs on an annual basis with the ADRC participants and their loved ones who serve as informants. And so if there are proposals that may involve prospective data collection, you would likely tie into that core. The ISPC core has growing numbers of samples as well. I don't profess to have any knowledge about how to speak intelligibly on that front, but the biomarker core as well has both imaging, blood-based, CSF-based biomarkers, and as you can see, there's a great deal. I know in recent years, the pathology core, they went ahead and did some additional ante-mortem blood-based biomarker profiling of those subjects who went on to autopsies at the ADRC. So that's a rare opportunity for combinatorial ante-mortem and post-mortem types of data analysis. So those are just a tip of the iceberg, really, of what one can conceptualize as within the infrastructure of the ADRC. Keep going back. Okay, and this is just sort of a bullet point rendition of the various types of investigators that are part of the core faculty at the ADRC. and therefore the REC program. We have a number of seminars and interest groups that we can go over a little bit in more detail later. We have other training programs that interface with the ADRC as well, and a variety of different funding opportunities, of which the REC is one. Okay, I know there's not enough text on here. You could have fit more. No, but these were the aims as we identified them in our proposal for the REC program. And you can see that there are both proximal aims as well as more distal aims for REC scholars. And the obvious proximal aims are to engage with the ADRC, develop a research project, and provide some seed funding to carry out that project, and then to provide some didactic and other training and mentorship opportunities within our infrastructure of the ADRC. And then the more long-term objectives of the ADRC or of the REC program are to basically help to provide a platform to launch further successes within Alzheimer's disease and related disorders research. So if you're new to ADRD research, that's perfectly acceptable. But if you're wanting to pivot and immerse yourself in another area of ADRD research that you would like to combine with your current skill sets, that's another way to go as well. And of course, we like to see everybody graduate to their next professional level. So postdoc fellows to assistant professorships, assistant professors to associate professors, folks who may have a K award to an R01, and so forth. We did have one of our initial REC scholars during their first year obtain an R01, and that thereby bounced him out of the program. He graduated successfully after 1 year in the REC program, didn't need the second year. But, you know, and the various faculty at the ADRC have decades of experience with career development awards, R01s, and other grant programs, and identifying the appropriate level as well as the best targeted grant opportunity for your particular research ideas or training aims is a good way to get consultation within the ADRC as well. Okay, here's our impressive list of program faculty, and some of our faculty are former REC scholars themselves. And so you can see Katie Bangan and Shu Chen and others who were former REC scholars are now part of the program faculty. So we really like that feed forward loop in terms of that experience. And here's the second page of that of that list. And we're going to share these slides, so you know, don't worry about jotting down anything that you may not need to. Okay, we have an annual application timeline that we'd like to get through, and the calls really go out late November for applications, and then there's a whole process that the ADRC institutes that sort of reifies an NIH grant review process in a smaller measure. And we'd like to not only identify the quality of the research aims, but also the quality and promise of the investigator, and the proposed mentor experience, so that, you know, don't shy away from engaging with the ADRC early before the applications are due to identify who might have a conversation with who might be a suitable mentor if you haven't already identified one yourself. But if you have, then by all means reach out to that mentor to make sure that they're aware that you're putting in a rec application and that they can be involved in the process of identifying the aims and so forth. Okay, so the first 5 years of the rec program, we were able to fund a total of 15 scholars. And over those 5 years, I think we started out, we sort of vacillated between 2 to 4 on any given year, or maybe closer to 3 on average each year. And you can see there was a fairly diverse background of both level as well as research area. So there were a fair amount of basic as well as clinical translational proposals. And let's see. And then we entered the renewal cycle, and year 6 of the rec program. And here we identified 4 new scholars, and we were able to do so by decreasing the amount of the stipend a little bit, but also engaging some philanthropy related funds to fund more. So we were able and fortunate to identify 4 new scholars during our first year of the renewal period. And here were their names and their research projects. And moving into the previous year, 25 to 26. And our year basically begins in April, if you're not aware of that. Those of you who are rec scholars are painfully aware of that, because it's the renewal period for each non-competitive funding renewal of the ADRC. But sometimes the money arrives late, and so it gets held up a little bit in NIH traffic, so to speak. Okay, so year 7, since we identified 4 that previous year, we were able to identify 2 because those 4 individuals then went on to their second year in the rec program. And in this, and you can see that over the previous year, a couple of the rec scholars were able to take advantage of a couple of very nice features that are associated with the ADC directors meetings that take place twice a year. There's a fall and a spring meeting each year, and rec scholars from all of the, 28 different ADRCs? How many ADRCs are there now?
35.
35?
Yeah.
All 35 ADRCs from across the country have an opportunity to participate, network. They'll hear latest groundbreaking areas of interest for NIA, National Institute on Aging. And there are a couple of training opportunities, particularly for the rec scholars, that there's a poster session for rec scholars. And the posters in that session are judged on their quality and their awards that are given for the top posters. And then there's a rec sponsored mock study section that is also given at each of the directors meetings. And so that's where rec scholars can go and avail themselves of getting some nuts and bolts about specific aims for their projects, as well as more didactic kinds of experiences with the grant review process itself. And Emily, I think we have a number going to the next meeting, which is coming up in May. We have a number of our cadre that are availing themselves of the mock study section?
The meetings are hybrid, so anybody affiliated with the ADRC is welcome to register. You have to register online to get the details about the meeting. If you have a rec-funded project, that should also cover your travel, so you can attend in person. And if you have any questions about how to arrange your travel using Concur or any of those details, please reach out to me sooner than later so we can help get those details sorted. There's a lot of social activities at the meeting, so anybody who is available to attend in person, the director's reception is a great networking opportunity with leaders in the field, from across the country, and we'll do some rec specific activities as well, and possibly even a rec lunch. So if we have an opportunity to spend some more time together, even though we'll be in Atlanta, it's sometimes easier to get together at these meetings than to pull people together from across campus.
True. Going backwards and again. Okay, and this brings us up to the present. So we're just about into year 8. I guess we did just cross into year 8 of the program. And so we have 4 new scholars coming into the program this year and 2 that are returning from last year. And
Should we give them a chance to introduce themselves?
Yeah, let's take a moment and have everyone introduce themselves. Let's start on the list. I see Laura Campbell's on Zoom. Would you like to introduce yourself, Laura?
Ellen, I'm Laura Campbell. I'm at UCSD, a postdoctoral fellow. I just took also a staff psychologist position at the VA. So yeah, happy to be here. I'll be working on, as it says, latent growth mixture modeling in the NAC data set, looking at cognitive trajectories over time.
Great. And how about Dr. Chaim? Go ahead.
Usually go by Alex, but Isaac is good. Alex Heim, assistant professor in cell developmental biology. Super excited to be here. We work on everything and anything related to RNA damage, and we have many reasons to believe that RNA oxidation is very important in neurodegeneration, including Alzheimer's, and we're very excited to learn a lot more about how to work with Alzheimer's.
And a collaborator on a newly funded
Yes.
grant.
Yes, you mentioned the CERN grant.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, so we, including Tom, we got disc 4 from CERN last week, 2 weeks ago, to basically work on everything RNA related, including RNA damage across neurodegenerative diseases. Cool.
Fantastic. How about Daniel? Is Daniel with us today?
I don't think he is, but he
Okay.
requested the slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Justin? Nope. And is Fereshte on?
No, but she will be at the Atlanta meeting.
Okay.
So you can post it there.
And how about Brianna? There's Brianna. Hi.
Hi there. So I'm in the same situation as Laura, actually. I took a staff psychologist position at the VA. I'm postdoc at UCSD. I'm characterizing sleep for folks in the longitudinal study, those that are cognitively normal but are at risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. So I'm doing home sleep tests with folks. They're going to be filling out surveys. And that's ongoing now. So excited to share some of that data with you later in the year or next year.
Great. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's spend just a minute talking about some of the various training activities and didactic activities that you can immerse yourself in. At the ADRC, we have a long-standing neurodegeneration seminar where we bring in prominent researchers from all over the world. They usually like to come in the wintertime. And then we have this very Lunch and Learn series, fantastic. We have monthly cognitive imaging and biomarker interest group meetings that David runs. He chairs. So we'll have a link to get on that listserv. You want to talk about your big data interest group that you're working on as well?
Sure. We had one meeting of that so far. It was just kind of an introductory meeting. And it's for people who are interested in doing modeling, basically, decline related to Alzheimer's disease and looking at different factors that might influence that. So we call it the big data group because we're looking at relatively large data sets like the NAT data set or the ADNI data set, ADR data set, and then there's a bunch of others. There's a genetic data set available. And then we also can get access to old clinical trial data sets through the ADCS, the Alzheimer's Disease Cooperative Study. So I know there are people who are interested in looking at that. So that's basically it. We're deciding now if there's enough interest. You have to have interest to have an interest group. So we had our first meeting, and actually everybody who I asked, and it was just kind of a random sample, actually showed up. So there was some interest, at least in the first meeting. So we'll probably try to keep it going. We'll at least have one more meeting and see if interest holds up.
Yeah. Very good.
Yep.
Okay, we have a lot of cross-fertilization with the AD-RECMAR as well in terms of seminar offerings. And so we like to present those whenever we can as didactic opportunities for rec scholars as well. We talked about the ADC meetings. There's an annual meeting that takes place every year up at UC Irvine, where the 5 different Southern California institutions all convene and present a full day of lectures. We'll get a basic and a clinical translational lecture from each of those 5 institutions. So there'll be a total of 10 lectures over that presentation day, as well as an opportunity for folks to present posters at the meeting. And then there's a sponsored dinner, and it's really a good dinner. Yeah.
Just announcement about the posters, which is that they can be presented elsewhere. So if you have presented at a different conference but want to present to this audience, you can submit a poster that's already been presented. They also accept posters from all training levels. So whether you're a mentor or a trainee, please encourage trainees at all levels to present posters. This is a pretty encouraging and collaborative space, especially for first-time presenters. And I don't think it's a competitive submission process. So you can basically get your poster accepted and have that as a resume builder just by registering with the poster.
Plus, it's a good opportunity to network with other Southern California institutions where they're allied in the types of research that we're doing. Okay, and I'll just mention the Data Blitz as well. That happens every 2 to 3 years here at the ADRC, and it's a really good opportunity to get just a quick overview of everything going on here. Because what do they get? No more than 5 minutes to present their work. And it's sort of rapid fire succession of various presentations. And it goes pretty much all day, doesn't it?
Pretty much all day.
Yeah.
Usually there's a lot of people doing Alzheimer's disease related research at UCSD.
Yeah.
And the surrounding institutes.
Anyway, be on the lookout for those announcements when they come out, because it's a great opportunity. Okay, we like to get feedback from the scholars, and so be on the lookout. I think we want to create or update a program evaluation and send that out to folks. And even if you're new to the program, you can still fill it out in the sense that, how was the application process? How was the process of identifying a mentor? How was the process of the funding and the financial underwriting of the project and immersion into the ADRC and its resources. So we really like that. And then once you're part of the Rec Scholar program, you're always a part of it. And so we would like over the years to periodically touch base and get some of that distal data I was talking about as well. So we want to always be in contact with the community of scholars that have traveled through our REC program. Okay, so there are a bunch of links that Emily had provided to me here that we can begin to talk about requesting data, biospecimens, participant referrals, et cetera. Additional funding opportunities that maybe you haven't been aware of, and optional listserv opportunities to hop on the ADRC e-newsletter, among other things. Okay. Here is just an announcement for the next directors meeting, just coming up May 3rd through the 6th in Atlanta. You can register now, and if you're interested in going, just contact Emily as soon as possible. And with the whole travel and concur and all of that stuff, just earlier is always better in getting those travel arrangements made. Here's just a little bit more on the SoCal Symposium. It's going to take place on May 29th of this year, so just about a month and a half or so. And again, it's a great opportunity to really get a nice overview of all of the institutions in Southern California and what they're sampling of what they're doing. And we've talked about these. Okay, that's all I had for today.